Welcome to 12 News at 11. I'm William Pitts. We start with developing news tonight. 6 people are dead and many more hurt after this crash on I-10 near Tonopah. Both sides of the freeway were closed for hours this afternoon. Right now, only the eastbound lanes of I-10 are still closed, though. DPS tells us it happened this afternoon with the crash involving multiple cars and tractor trailers. Several of those caught on fire. Now, right now, we're trying to learn more about what caused this crash. Well, the U.S. Department of Homeland Security this week announced a more than 600% increase in monthly ICE arrests since President Donald Trump took office. Many of those arrests are happening across Arizona. 12 News journalist Gabriela Becerra spoke with one of those families about their experience and their unanswered questions.
I spoke to the son of a construction worker who's been living here in Arizona without legal status for the past 24 years. The family tells me they were taken by surprise when ICE agents showed up in their neighborhood earlier this week.
They took a part of me, just stripped away.
23-year-old Alonzo Zavala Barajas was born and raised in Arizona, living alongside his parents and sister. But Barajas says his father is undocumented, and on last Tuesday morning, he watched ICE agents arrest him outside his Gilbert home.
It felt really quiet, and the weight of the world dropped on my shoulders.
Barajas says his dad had a civil offense and he recently paid the fine, but not a criminal history.
Why 6 people surrounding him? Why bother camping out at 6 in the morning for someone like that?
Earlier this week, the U.S. Department of Homeland Security announced more than 20,000 people without legal status were arrested in the first month of President Trump's administration. Immigration attorney Amelia Benuelos says she's providing counsel for some of those Arizona families.
They are afraid. They're scared. It's devastating.
Benuelos says people without legal status have rights, but still anyone under arrest needs to cooperate with agents.
You can't run, right? You can't fight ICE, but you could remain silent. You could ask for a lawyer, because everything you say will be used against you.
She encourages families of mixed status to have a plan in place. Barajas says it's a plan his family had, but never thought they'd have to use.
He has a life here. He has a life with us here.
We reached out to ICE for information or comment on this case, but did not get a response. In Phoenix, Gabriela Becerra, 12 News.
Gabby, thanks. Well, take a look at this. Did you get wind at your place today? Because a lot of people did. This was the scene in Ahwatukee on the other side of South Mountain. High winds whipping those palm trees and the flags around, blowing dust, creating kind of a halo effect, blocking out a lot of the sun as well. And that dust was just all over the valley today. Meteorologist Chris Dunn here tonight with a look at the forecast. And Chris, this was an ugly storm. Are we in for any more wind in the next couple of days? I know it's going to drop a little bit.
Yeah, we will get another round of wind, mainly coming up on Monday. Some parts of the state will actually get it tomorrow night, but most of us will see the wind on Monday. Also causing some problems for allergy sufferers out there today. Lots of dust, lots of pollen, lots of everything in the wind. It is calm in Ahwatukee right now, 7-mile-per-hour winds in Phoenix, and a little bit of a breeze coming up from the south, 12-mile-per-hour winds in Santan Valley. I want to take you back to 4 o'clock this afternoon. This is the visibility in miles, and we can only see 2 miles in Maricopa, 2 miles the visibility Queen Creek, 4 miles visibility in Chandler. And then as we go through time, that big puff of dust moved away, and everybody is at 10 miles of visibility right now. Look at the wind gust today, a 52-mile-per-hour gust at the Chandler Airport. Sky Harbor, 45. Luke Air Force Base, 40. And Scottsdale gusting to 38. The reason for the wind is this area of low pressure. We were tracking it since last week, and it moved across Southern California, moved across Arizona, still producing some rain just north of Flagstaff, and Show Low reporting some rain a little bit earlier. That'll kick out of here a little bit later on tonight. And then the second round coming in on Monday, already a fire weather watch in effect for southeastern Arizona. We'll talk more about the impacts from this next storm and when we might see some rain around here coming up later in this half hour. Will?
All right, thanks, Chris. Phoenix police are looking for whoever hit a man in North Phoenix and then took off. Phoenix police say it happened near 24th Street in Bell. Police found a man with life-threatening injuries. They say he'd been hit by a car, but officers couldn't find the car. The man was taken to the hospital. Police say they're still looking for the driver. Tempe police say a man is recovering after being stabbed at IKEA this morning. Police say a man who was doing work at the IKEA came running out saying he'd been stabbed by a coworker. He was taken to the hospital in critical condition. IKEA says neither of those two people were employees of the store. New tonight, Democratic Senator Ruben Gallego is warning of the potential Arizona impact of Medicaid cuts by the Republican-controlled Congress. Gallego led a roundtable discussion today in Phoenix with representatives of healthcare organizations, employees, and insurers. Republicans are pushing for cuts to Medicaid, the health insurance program for low-income Americans, to help pay for an extension of President Donald Trump's 2017 tax cuts. Gallego said deep cuts into Medicaid would result in job losses statewide. More than 1 in 4 Arizona residents are covered by the state's Medicaid program.
You will see hospitals shutting down. You'll see, practices moving away. You'll see people using the emergency room as their primary care doctor, and you'll see every Arizonan's premiums probably go up because of this very short-sighted, decision.
And Gallego also revealed to reporters that he has invited a fired federal worker from Arizona to attend President Trump's address to Congress on Tuesday night. Well, starting next week, the Lukeville Port of Entry will be extending its hours on Fridays to make spring break travel easier. March is peak season to travel to Puerto Penasco, also known as Rocky Point, and the port is typically open from 6 a.m. to 8 p.m. Starting next Friday, the port will extend its operations by 2 hours, remaining open until 10. This change will only be on Fridays, though. Many hospitality workers are hoping that change will drive tourism this spring and over the summer. Also next week, tariffs will go into effect on Arizona's 2 largest trading partners. President Trump announced 25% tariffs on imports from Mexico and Canada will go into effect March 4th. The president had paused those tariffs last month after both countries pledged to strengthen their borders. An extra 10% tariff will also be placed on Chinese imports. No word on if there's any talks to push that date back again.